I'd never been so unsettled with a Warhammer mod. Someone made Fishmen. Well, there's a whole faction of Fishmen and Sharkmen. This is interesting. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Warhammer video. Today we're going to be doing another mod review, and this one has been in the workshop for a while but has been out of my radar for some reason, yet is kind of interesting because it's basing a faction on a footnote of a footnote, essentially. This is a faction mod known as Sons of Stormfells, which is based on, well, like I said, a footnote of a footnote, basing itself on the god Stormfells, which is the shark god, which many people think is another aspect of Khorne. Now, what makes this interesting is it's a complete new faction of sharkmen and even some fishmen, as you saw in the intro, so it's very different. It's very, very different. It's not entirely lore-friendly, but it brings in the rivalry between Manaan and that of Stormfells, which is well known and documented within the lore of Warhammer Fantasy. So let's not waste any more time and jump right in, as it is an interesting faction to play, and it is very, very different. So I'm not sure if this is a bug or not, but you can only find your faction effects on the faction selection screen. It's not as a usual trait. So the effects are as follows: Diplomatic Relations, -40 with Tomb Kings, all armies. Campaign Movement Range, plus 15%, all armies. Diplomatic Relations, -40% with Vampire counts, all armies once again. Leadership plus 20 when fighting against the Vampire Coast, and finally Diplomatic Relations -40 with the Vampire Coast, all armies. Same thing with the Lord effects, where enemy Winds of Magic Power Reserve are -30, which is a little strong in my opinion. Magic Resistance 15% for Lord's Army, and Immune to Swamp Attrition Lord's Army. Well, it makes sense, you're an aquatic army. I'm not sure if this is again another bug or if it's just embedded directly into his stats, as he's got here a Supreme Admiral trait, which obviously gives him different stuff. In most cases, I don't know how this works when it comes to modding, so it could be that it's just something else. So you've got one legendary lord, which is known as Chaos Robinson. I believe that the modder of this mod was doing this in tribute to Chaos Robbie because, well, the dude helped out a lot of modders with a lot of different things, and I think it's a nice tribute. Stat-wise himself, the character is pretty strong, but then again, it's a giant mutant shark. Well, shark monster thing, yeah. This guy is going to be the main character that you'll be using throughout your whole campaign, and he can do a lot of damage. He's massive too. He's able to just, well, demolish stuff. When you get to play this mod, believe me, it's already out in the workshop, it's linked in the description below. He can do a lot of damage, which can be very satisfying, especially since you start off in Lustria, which, yeah, nobody's too keen on that, but since you're able to play around with a lot of different things, it does make it a bit more bearable. In terms of unique skills, the character does have access to 2 unique skill lines. Both of them can be found at the very top. So one of the skill lines itself focuses around boosting up your Sharkmen units, giving them bonuses and so on, to obviously make them much more worth it throughout your campaign. If you're going to be using these guys in the majority sense, you're going to obviously want these skills, as you're going to want these troops to at least be as useful as possible throughout your campaign, and it does make them quite powerful, which makes the whole Lustria Ball thing a lot more bearable, as there's a decent amount of lizardmen that you need to deal with. However, you don't actually have to stay here, as you can move around, it's no problem. The great thing is that your legendary lord and all other Sharkman characters, as there are lord variants too, are all pseudo-hordes, so you're able to have a little bit of fun there. Unlike the standard Vampire Coast faction, as this is modeled after the Vampire Coast, there are no prerequisites to be able to recruit other pseudo-hordes. In fact, you can recruit them just from the very beginning, and yeah, they're going to be quite useful if you want to keep it on theme. Nothing stopping you from going and getting some Vampire Fleet Admirals and so on, but it kind of kills off the theme of the mod. As it stands, with both Pseudo-Horde and even just the buildings that you control, you've got access to 2 complete rosters in the same buildings, that of the standard Vampire Coast roster and that of the Sharkmen. You're able to switch around as you please, though if you really want an interesting campaign, just ignore all the Vampire Coast stuff, no cannons, no nothing. You can still get cannons and range with the Sharkmen, but just go for Sharkmen and it's interesting. I've played around for a few hours and I must say it was decently enjoyable. Most of your stuff is monstrous sized though, so you have to keep in mind of that. But yeah, I must say, very, very inspired from something which basically has no lore. And you are spoiled for choice. There's so many different types of units and so on that you are able to build up to whatever specification you want, or if you just want to have a little fun and try out as much as possible, I think that there's enough unique units to be about an army and a half's worth. So what you can see here is all the different types of unique units that are available for this mod, and some of them are, well, I'm being very honest here, pure nightmare fuel. They look really, really cool though. Keep in mind that this is 100% unique from the modder. The Sharkmen thing was always a kind of bit of a joke in the Warhammer Fantasy universe. Like, we knew there was something, but nothing was really outright confirmed. Like I said, it was a footnote of a footnote of a footnote. So it is definitely very, very creative, and you can see more or less what they're using as base models and skeletons and so on. It is very different, and I must say that it does add into something completely unique in terms of a playstyle, because you're using, well, pretty much what you always expected from, say, for example, Frog, just obviously without the cannons and so on, but you expected a full monster army, and this is mostly a full monster army. It's very, very different, and it is kind of specialized in terms of playstyle. You obviously do have some chaff units and so on, which you'll find with some firstborns and obviously some fishmen too. The fishmen themselves, like I said earlier in the video, are just like confusing but pure nightmare fuel too, which I kind of liked. This was very different because normally I focus around lore-friendly mods. This is lore adjacent at the very best, but it's very interesting, and I thought that it was actually done very, very well, and in very different style stuff. You've got really cool banners too, because obviously the banners that your unit banners have the shark style and all that, which, you know, is attention to detail. It's a lot of attention to detail. One thing I did myself in my own campaign is, as soon as I started, I actually went for Noctilus to try and take over his territory, because it kind of sounds like an awesome area to start off with as these guys, obviously. And then I started going for Orthwan and so on. I was becoming a Terror of the Seas, which, you know, works out very well considering that obviously you're an aquatic army. I must say the way I was playing was kind of like opening up a Warhammer Fantasy roleplay book and just kind of sandboxing it, which was really nice, I must say. It was different. The models look great, that's for sure. It's not like you're watching something too janky. Some of them do have a little bit of a clipping issue, but considering it's Total War and you're mostly looking from like a very aerial point of view, you're not really going to be noticing that too much. I must say, this is very inspired. The modder has done a great job, and yeah, it's different, but cool. The mod itself can be found in the description below. I'd say give it a shot. It is very different, I must say, but like, that's a good thing. That's honestly a really, really good thing. And this might be the best time before Warhammer 3 to play around with the more experimental style of mods that go into something very, very deep. It's a lot of someone's headcanon too. I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun with it, and I mean, I did, and I'm really bad with monster-based armies. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.